All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and unpack what is arguably the most highly effective, yet incredibly volatile move out there, the flat shot. I mean, if you've ever felt that sheer thrill of connecting perfectly with a ball, only to watch it just sail wildly over the fence a split second later, you are definitely not alone. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens, the mechanics behind it, and how you can systematically harness all that incredible speed.
So this brings us to a pretty massive dilemma, right? Why on earth is the absolute most powerful shot also the easiest one to completely lose control of? Well, it's because we're generating so much pure raw force that every tiny little mistake just gets magnified. Your margin for error, it is razor thin. If you aren't incredibly precise, that ball is just going to fly right out.
To fix this, we're going to break down the anatomy of the swing chronologically. We'll hit the flat shot dilemma, the golden rule, hitting the switchboard, the mechanics of the punch, and finally, targeting and practice.
All right, part 1, the flat shot dilemma.
Here's the hard truth. A flat shot literally fails before it even begins if your setup is off. You absolutely have to win the setup position first. If the ball is too high or if it's too low, you know what? Just abandon the flat shot entirely. Seriously. Forcing massive power from a compromised position is just going to multiply your initial mistake and send that ball flying out of bounds. No way around it.
Moving right along to part 2, the golden rule.
Okay, this right here is an absolute non-negotiable law. Before you even start thinking about power or, where your opponent is standing, you must actively aim to get that ball safely over the net. Because when you're hitting with massive, flat speed, the net is literally your biggest enemy. It is completely uncompromisable. You have got to visualize that trajectory clearing the net before you even strike.
Which leads us perfectly into part 3, hitting the switchboard.
So, to maintain control during a really fast rally, you have to find what we call the switchboard. Now, this isn't the dead middle of the racket, and actually, it's not the very top edge either. It's that precise, highly specific sweet spot located right in between those two areas.
You might be wondering, why does this exact specific spot matter so much? Well, because if you connect here, it essentially becomes your absolute bread and butter for placing the ball exactly where you want it. Hitting the switchboard generates this awesome pure speed, all while giving you the exact dial and control you desperately need to actually tame the shot. All right, let's get into the physical side of things with part 4. Mechanics of the punch.
Pay close attention to the strict timeline here, because you really cannot execute these steps out of order. First, you establish your ready position and a crystal clear sight line over the net. Second, you punch powerfully right through the ball. Third, you elongate that punch into a deep follow-through. And finally, step 4, and only at step 4, you add the explosive jump or body rotation at the very end. Actually, let me emphasize that. Do not force the jump early. Just let it naturally follow the punch.
Because if you hesitate, the results are drastically different. A slow follow-through or a slow punch will completely ruin your trajectory. The ball just gets way too much hang time, popping up in the air and losing all of that driving control. So to get enough momentum, your strike absolutely must be a fast, hard, elongated punch.
And finally, part 5, targeting and practice. When all of your mechanics perfectly align, these become your 3 main target goals. You strike with a powerful, fast punch. You clear the net, and your ultimate goal is to punch that ball so forcefully over the net that it lands deep, properly past the service line. Honestly, hitting it deep past that service line is exactly what turns this from just a risky hard hit into a completely dominating match-winning shot. But, there's always a catch, right? Because you're generating so much pure force and speed, this sequence demands relentless practice. High power naturally multiplies your chances of making errors. It is an amazing shot when it works, but you've got to train your brain and your body tirelessly to hit that switchboard every single time.
So, take this chronological roadmap with you next time you hit the court. Really focus on your setup height, respect the net, find that switchboard, and absolutely commit to the fast punch. The speed and the control you'll unlock are just incredible. So, the only question left for us today is, are you ready to master the switchboard and punch your next powerful shot safely past the service line?